a sudden announcement, a 5-day pause in war, and a warning that sent shockwaves across global politics. In just a matter of hours, headlines across the world began flashing the same question. Was the United States stepping back from a larger conflict or preparing for something even bigger? Because when a global power suddenly pauses, it's rarely just a pause, it's a signal, and behind that signal, there's always a deeper story. In recent times, tensions in the Middle East have once again reached dangerous levels. The long-standing rivalry between Iran and the United States has been one of the most complex geopolitical conflicts in modern history. Decades of sanctions, proxy wars, covert operations, and military standoffs have created a situation where even a small trigger could escalate. But what makes this situation different is the timing, because the world today is more interconnected than ever before. Any conflict involving major powers doesn't just stay local. It sends shockwaves across global markets, energy supply chains, and international alliances, and countries like India are directly affected. Recently, reports began circulating about a temporary de-escalation, a 5-day pause. At first glance, it looked like a positive development, a chance for diplomacy, a moment for both sides to step back. But analysts and global leaders quickly began asking a deeper question. Why now? Because in geopolitics, timing is everything. And when a powerful nation pauses military action, it often means one of two things. Either negotiations are quietly happening behind the scenes, or preparations are being made for something much larger. Former US President Donald Trump has, in the past, taken unpredictable approaches. His strategies have often mixed pressure with sudden de-escalation, creating uncertainty not just for adversaries, but even for allies. So when news of a pause or shift in approach emerges, it immediately triggers global speculation. Is it a tactical move? A political strategy? At the same time, leaders in other countries have begun issuing warnings. India, in particular, has a lot at stake. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has repeatedly emphasized the importance of stability, especially when it comes to energy security and economic growth. India imports a significant portion of its oil, and a large part of that supply comes from regions affected by Middle Eastern tensions. So any escalation, or even the fear of escalation, can directly impact fuel prices, inflation, and economic stability within the country. This is why even a temporary pause in conflict is closely monitored in New Delhi. Because for India, this isn't just about geopolitics, it's about economic survival. But the situation becomes even more complex when you consider the broader global picture. The world is already dealing with multiple overlapping tensions. Conflicts in Eastern Europe, rising competition between the US and China. In such a fragile environment, even a small spark can lead to a chain reaction. That's why analysts describe it as a pressure cooker. Everything is stable until suddenly it isn't. So what does a 5-day pause actually mean in this context? On the surface, it may appear as a cooling-off period. But in reality, it can serve several strategic purposes. It can allow time for back-channel negotiations. It can give military forces time to reposition, or to assess the reactions of other players. Because every move in geopolitics is observed, analyzed, and responded to. And sometimes, silence itself is a strategy. For countries like India, the challenge is balancing relationships. India maintains ties with the United States, while also having interests with Iran. This balancing act requires careful diplomacy. Any major shift in the region forces India to adjust its position, quickly and carefully. Another critical factor is energy routes. The Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important oil transit choke points in the world. A significant percentage of global oil supply passes through this narrow passage. If conflict disrupts this route, the impact would be immediate. Oil prices would surge, global markets would react, and countries dependent on imports, like India, would face serious economic pressure. Is this the beginning of de-escalation, or just the calm before a larger storm? History has shown that many conflicts are preceded by moments like this. Short pauses, temporary agreements, sudden changes in tone. Sometimes they lead to peace, but other times they are simply brief moments of silence. For ordinary people, these developments can feel distant, but they affect everyday life. Fuel prices rising, stock markets fluctuating. All of these are connected to decisions being made at the highest levels. So what does this pause really mean? Is it a genuine attempt to reduce tensions, or a strategic move in a much larger game? Right now, the answer isn't clear. What is clear, however, is this. The world is entering a period of increasing uncertainty, and in such times, every signal matters. Every statement, every pause, every shift in strategy. Because sometimes, the biggest events in history don't begin with explosions. They begin with silence. If you want to stay updated on global tensions and the hidden stories behind major world events, consider subscribing. Because understanding these moments might be the only way to see what's coming next.